presented by Prize Picks here on the Mayo Media Network. I am Matt Moody, joined as always by my guy, DJ Mitchell, here to talk about Thursday's three-game NHL action. DJ, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Season coming to a very weird end, as I don't know what else to say other than we have a bunch of regular season games that are going to keep going until the playoffs. It's very weird. We don't have the playoff schedule yet, but it's supposed to start on Saturday. It's a mess, and nothing like the NHL to take something and make it as confusing and convoluted as possible. So I'm excited to just step back from all that, all the playoff brackets and fantasy that go along with it, player pools and whatnot, and just talk about the three games that I'm going to be gambling on tomorrow. So we got three games here. Matt, how are you doing though? What's going on with your life?
I mean, I'm doing all right. It's been a tough week of just waiting, just kind of tapping on the table, waiting for the playoffs to come around. And the NHL, of course, is just like, well, you're going to get your playoffs, but first we got to get in this Vancouver-Calgary action. Okay,
yep.
Like sure, I'm happy to wait. I'll go out and do other things in the meantime. So I am looking forward to Saturday night. That'll be the first game, I guess, of the playoffs. But geez, we don't know when the first game will be at this point, which is kind of ridiculous, but also very on par for the NHL. But we are here to talk about the fantasy, the betting, everything else as it pertains to this Thursday slate. So we're happy you guys, came in, listened to us ramble on about these three games. So before we get to those, I do want to talk to you about Prize Picks. Head on over to prizepicks.com and use promo code MMN when you sign up. That'll get you up to a $100 match deposit bonus, and it'll help us out. So, let them know we sent you. Do us a solid. It's been a long season of giving you guys fantasy hockey picks and bets. It's right there in the title. We're doing it for you. So, just make sure you're heading over to Prize Picks and do us that favor. What you do on Prize Picks is pretty simple. You see the big board. You can pick between any of the sports. They list a whole number of sports. We're going to talk about hockey though, and you create a card of players. And in the NHL, you get 3 points for a goal. 2 points for an assist and a half point for a shot and a block shot. You would think at this point in the year, I would know that by now. But of course, it's a ton of fun. I highly recommend you check it out if you have not yet. And create some cross-sport entries, baseball going on, basketball finishing up, hockey. So, head on over there, check it out. Let them know we sent you. DJ.
And any other sports?
And Eagle McMahon in disc golf, just the lock of the century.
Lock of 59.5, and that's the easiest under I've ever heard in my life. Just he might hit 18, just all hole-in-ones. I don't even know how it works. But yeah, no, very fun stuff for sure. So we can get to the three games of action. It's going to be, I think this might be the first time we have a 8 p.m. start for one of our shows. Normally we at least get a couple 7 o'clock games on a Thursday slate, but here we are, 8, 9, and 9 with the start times Eastern time. We have 2 back-to-backs and a game that you're going to get sick of hearing about. So we're going to start with Minnesota at St. Louis. It's a 5.5 over-under. Right now as we're recording, that game is in the third period, I believe, and St. Louis has a shutout for nothing. This is, not going to be a match we see in the playoffs. I think it's going to end up being St. Louis and Colorado and Minnesota and Vegas is what it's shaping out to be. But two teams that are going to be in the playoffs, nothing really left to play for in their final match of the year. So the money line looks like it's going to be almost dead even, right around there. Do you have any lean overall to begin this?
I mean, yeah, it definitely comes down to what these teams want to do with this game.
Yeah.
We saw this on Tuesday. We did a whole 2-game show, and we were like, hey, look, Boston has nothing to play for. Washington has nothing to play for. What do? Well, Washington plays everybody that they can, minus John Carlson, I think Backstrom. Boston literally sat their entire top three lines. So that was just an obvious, if you can, predict what's going to happen, sure, take that, early edge. But honestly, a lot of it's going to change. So we should get some forenotice. We just don't have that at this point. So, like everything else, it's always tough this early on, and especially at this point in the year. So I think my initial lean is probably just to go back to the St. Louis side. They are at home, maybe there's something a little bit more to play for out of them, but also they've just been playing really, really good hockey. Yeah. I mean, we've been putting together some playoff previews and stuff for the Morning Skate podcast, and just looking at them, they're going to, if they finish off this 4-0 game, they've gotten points in 10 of their last 11. Like, this team was dead. And all of a sudden they're back and they seem to be firing on all cylinders. So if we get, their main guys in the lineup, I think that St. Louis has, offers a lot of value here. And it definitely would not surprise me if Minnesota was sitting guys, on the road on a back-to-back, just to sort of get their guys healthy and ready to face what we project to be Vegas. So I think for me, the under's a really solid bet. You don't know who starts in goal. Like they started Husso for St. Louis, and maybe they go with Husso again. I'm not really sure what they do there. I'm doubting it's Binnington, but in any case, I just don't see a lot to play for. We saw this in Washington, Boston. Those guys would have rather been doing anything else than playing a hockey game. And I think we see one of those sort of games here between these two clubs as they get ready for the playoffs to start.
Yeah, definitely. I think there could be a few guys that miss. We don't really know yet, like we said, but some of the veterans on either side, I think, might end up sitting. I like the under here for sure. That seems pretty easy to get. I don't like looking through the props right now. There's like not one goal prop that makes any rational sense right now. But if we get some news, one of these guys could jump into the forefront. On Wednesday night, it could have been Barbashev, who ends up bumping up to the first line. Trying to find, I don't even know, I can't even find his prop on DraftKings right now.
Yeah, I'm looking for him. I'm also looking for Klim Kostin, and I'm not seeing him. When those guys get posted,
those are the guys I was thinking like that might bump up and be like I don't think we get Kostin at like +4 something and be like, hey, like this guy's a shooter. Never mind, guess we can't even do that. Maybe it'll pop up at the time you're looking at it. So just these are a couple names of guys for St. Louis that I think could jump. I mean, I don't know if there's anyone at Minnesota I'm overly bullish on getting in. Like again, this game does feel like a bit of a fade on most of the props. I mean, Kirill Kaprizov is the one. I know Meany talked about it for Wednesday's show. The guy has hit like every single shot on goal prop for like a month. I think he's
13 straight games. Yep.
13 straight games. I don't really see that cooling off, especially, we think guys will be rested. I don't know if Krill will. I mean, he's a young kid. Maybe they just want to keep him going while he's hot. You never really know. It seems like the guys are like the veterans that get the rest if they want it, but who knows? Obviously, Minnesota could change their mind and sit him, but if he's in, I think he could be still in a pretty premium role. And, he's a gamer. Like everyone that talks about him talks about how much he wants to win and how much he puts into each game. So I still think he could hit the shot bonus, even maybe at 5 on DraftKings. So he's definitely going to be a focal point of my lineups.
Yeah, if Minnesota doesn't have Kaprizov, they're almost certainly not going to have Kevin Fiala because Fiala has been nursing an injury. So I pretty much would expect, Kaprizov to play here. And if he doesn't, the entire team's going to sit kind of. So for me, it's Kaprizov or nothing on the Minnesota side. On the St. Louis side, I think the two guys we mentioned might be the guys, Barbashev, if their main guys was playing with O'Reilly and Perron. So definitely good there. Jordan Kyrou as well. I think also, he just sort of fits the mold. Young guy, shooter, could see a decent role increase if some guys were to sit out. So anything else there, or just like, let's keep things moving?
Yeah, the under bet there seems real strong, especially if you could get it at 6, which I'm not sure if it's ever going to get there, but 5.5 is still pretty good. So we'll move over to Vancouver at Calgary. We actually have a little bit of news here. Sean Monahan out for the remainder of the season. It sounds like he needed some sort of hip, right? Surgery or something of that nature.
I'm honestly not sure because, just funny story. Earlier, I was reading through the news and I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. Like their season's over, right? Because I just completely forgot that Calgary and Vancouver are playing like 4 more times still just because, like the season. But yeah, so I didn't even think twice about it. Yeah.
So. It is Sean Monahan will not play hip surgery next week. So I was correct. He was in hip surgery there, which weirdly enough, he did play last game, but got off the first power play. That moved Mikael Backlund up to the first unit. That might be the guy could be the pivot here. I do think a lot of people are going to just jam in Calgary 1 if he's all playing. And Backlund could kind of be that sneaky play because, overall in this game, I think there is some upside here as far as goals are concerned because Vancouver is an absolute train wreck defensively right now. I do think that this game could be worth stacking, but you have Backlund at +310 to score. First power play, he's been a rate shooter for most of his career, and this year he's kind of been in spurts. at 5,500 on DraftKings as well for a price point. That seems pretty strong. He had 6 shots on goal last game and a goal against Ottawa. Ottawa, Vancouver, kind of either or, there's a lot of upside against. So I definitely like that play a lot as a solo play, or just as a pivot off of Lindholm. I don't think you're going to be begging for cash. And I do think if you're playing DraftKings, leaving a little salary on the table could be wise to differentiate. But Backlund, Giordano as a 2-man and just kind of not taking that Calgary 1 is going to be really unique because it's still a bit underpriced. I'm not sure, kind of getting into the weeds on DraftKings a little bit too much, but is there anything you wanted to say about that sort of narrative?
I mean, my quote unquote narrative is probably just to jam in all the dudes on Calgary. This is the one game where, like, obviously LA coming up doesn't have anything to play for, but Colorado does. So it's, that game, they're definitely, I think, going to be a little bit different than what we would normally expect. Vancouver, Calgary, I mean, these are guys just playing out the strings. So there's no reason to quote unquote rest guys. Monahan was obviously hurt, so he's done. But everyone else I would expect to play, like Johnny Gaudreau on DraftKings, is way too cheap at 5,400. Like, he is, multi-point upside just waiting to happen every night. So I kind of think that, in addition to playing Backlund and Giordano, I'm probably just playing the first line too and just saying, look, like, we just saw this happen. Wheeler, Scheifele, Connor were like 1,000,000,000% owned, but guess what? Like, they are the best plays. So I think adding in Backlund, adding in Giordano won't necessarily make you unique, but it will make you, I think, differentiated enough to where you can feel pretty good about that 5-man stack and just, like you said, finding value elsewhere, because there will be a lot of it. So, on the Vancouver side, though, is there anyone who stands out to you, especially like a one-off type play in these lineups?
Okay. I got to be losing my mind. Is Rathbone not on the props for goals? He's played like 5 games.
Yeah, can confirm he's not either.
Oh my God, this is like the 5th game in a row. Come on, DraftKings, get him on there. That was going to be my bold take, is that he's going to score a goal. But Jack Rathbone, he's been playing on the first power play for Vancouver. He's 2,800 on DraftKings, and I can't talk about the props, but I do think as a one-off, especially because he's had 7 blocks in the past 2 games, it seems like he's just playing a ton of minutes and getting as involved as possible as, a rookie out of Harvard. He did have you had a stat like 38 shots on goal or something like that. Do you have it up still?
Yeah, he played 8 games in the AHL this year before, coming to Vancouver. And he had 32 shots in those games as a defenseman, like 4 shots a game. I mean, for anyone, it's ridiculous, but very good for a defenseman.
So he profiles super well to be a really good asset. And like I said, I do think of all the games, if I'm going to get a bit of a game stack, it's right here. And getting like Giordano, who I think is just kind of a nuts play if he's going to play with him, it is kind of a way to kind of hit the medium on defense and not go overboard. And you could play it with any of the guys on the first power play, which might be the easiest to say. Bo Horvat, who I would say as a shot prop is probably my favorite. I do think he'll get it done over 2.5 for sure. Not for sure. I mean, he's definitely not 100% positive, but I do like him here in this matchup. I think there'll be a decent tempo here to this game. So, that kind of 2-man, and then kind of throw in some pieces around it, your Backlunds, Gaudreaus, etc. On a 3-game slate, you might want to correlate a little bit more, but you can find it, you can make it happen, and then just get like a couple pieces like Costin, etc. And then get a couple Colorado guys as they have something to play for. Like, that's the lineup narrative I'm playing. And then goal props. My hot take was going to be that first goal for Rathbone. I don't think he scored yet in his career. I was going to say the first one for him, but never mind that. Oh, he has a goal actually. Let's go in a second. So I think we've said this almost every podcast, but where is he? Where is Hogland? Yeah, plus 320. That's still in play for sure. Guy's been shooting a ton.
Yep, that's a real good value on Hoglander. So
I think it's been all year, every single time.
Yeah, we just sort of went a month without them on the slate, so we sort of forgot. As for my player props here, I'm definitely going with I think Horvat's the best guy in Vancouver, and then I actually like Backlund or Giordano the most. We can get their shot props most places. So shop around, make sure you find the best line, but especially Giordano's just been firing like a madman lately. He's playing on the top power play, of course, so I think that one's just pretty straightforward. Not getting into goals or anything with him, but he's just a great sort of shot on goal, block shots guy. So let's cap up there and head on over into this last game of the night. Barring a spectacular collapse out of Colorado, this, on Wednesday night, this Thursday night game will be for the number 1 seed in the West and also the President's Trophy, right? I'm not crazy in saying that.
No, you're not. As long as they don't have that spectacular collapse. If they win, they win the President's Trophy. Okay.
Yeah, so we're seeing this Colorado team without McKinnon, which is, kind of concerning for the playoffs, but we're really not expecting them to play on Thursday night. In any case, despite there being something kind of meaningful to play for, especially when you consider it's home ice advantage too in the second round that you're getting with that. So I would expect we see all of their main dudes besides McKinnon. So pretty much a rerun of what happened on Wednesday, which means Tyson Jost centering Rantanen and Landeskog. He didn't actually get in on the scoring, so we kind of have to see what happened there. As Colorado is winning 6-0, like just a ridiculous game. But he's sort of the immediate value, and then you kind of got to dig deeper to find some of these other values. So anything on the Colorado side you wanted to start with?
I mean, I think that so last time, and we haven't seen the official game logs yet, but last time McKinnon missed, it moved Donskoy up to the first power play. So it's plus 190 to score. I don't love it, but it was Burakovsky and Donskoy, who I don't think correlated as a line tonight. But did I say something?
Burakovsky, this guy who moved up, because Donskoy's been on that top unit. But you're right.
Yeah,
it's those are the guys. Yeah,
those are the guys. So kind of what I was getting to is, if you wanted to stack around the power play a little bit, like they make sense. Donskoy is super cheap, not the best rate shooter in the world. Like he has 49 games, 74 shots on the year. Like that's not very good. So you're really relying on points with him. Burakovsky, he's 100,000 more on DraftKings, but definitely just a better rate shooter, especially with over the minutes he's gotten. And when he gets more, it's just better chance for him to smash. It's going to be hard for me to talk myself into jamming in these really expensive guys in Rantanen and Landeskog, because as you're kind of alluding to, I think, if Colorado gets up by a couple goals, I can't imagine they're going to risk Rantanen and Landeskog getting hurt to just pound away at Los Angeles and beat the heck out of them for no reason. So I'm not going to do it myself. I'm not taking any of their props. I just don't trust it. I think that, obviously this matchup bodes well for Rantanen, but I'm sure the books aren't going to take into account that they may miss minutes. So you're going to get terrible odds on it. I would rather try to get creative. Look at a guy like, Burakovsky, like I mentioned, or maybe even Comfer, who just smashed the night before, and say like, hey, like they're clearly trying to get this guy involved more. Let's get his shot prop if we can get it. Let's get his point prop or something. And see if we can't ride that out. But more or less in this game, I'm not that interested.
It is funny your takeaway from a 6-0 Colorado victory is that Colorado will not try to run it up on the Kings here.
Well, they did it all in the first two periods. Like it seemed like in the third.
You're right. I'm just messing with you, but it was a very funny thing to hear when I'm looking at the scores, and it's like it's like one of those. It's like a slot machine where it's just like spinning. Like when do we get to a 7? Looking for a 7. But yeah, no, that's. This game is definitely, like you're saying, a bit of a Pandora's box. Like if it's close, Colorado is going to have to sort of, get the win. But if it's out of hand, well, who gets it out of hand? Maybe Colorado. That's, the Colorado one, I should say. That's kind of where I'm leaning on this one. It's just like, I don't need the money. So like, I might as well just play these dudes. I'm not entirely convinced on that yet, but as far as, betting the sides of this game, like, I mean, the puck line for Colorado is like minus 141. Like, I don't know. I feel like I want to do that, but at the same time, it's just like, am I really trying to do that when they're just trying to grind out a 2-1 win? I don't know. So with all that said, though, I kind of am feeling the over here, over 5.5. Like if the Kings can even do anything,
that's the issue.
Yeah, right.
You just summed up the issue like right there. Yeah. Like, can the Kings literally do anything? And tonight they have not. They have how many shots on goal right now with 13 minutes left? They have 15 shots on goal. Like 5 a period. My God.
But it will not be Philip Grubauer in that. Does that change things for you? It'll be either Johansson or is Dubnyk done? I don't even know at this point. Yeah, Dubnyk's I think done.
If you put me in net tonight for Colorado, it might be a game. Like I may have looked into stopping a few pucks. Like I just can't in good faith do it. And the real like extra reason to it is like, it seems like Los Angeles, weirdly enough, is like sent down players that were like helpful because they wanted to get them like AHL playoff experience, I assume. But Byfield and them all went down. I mean, their roster is just a joke. You know, it's just like, what are we even? It's like, I can't do it. I like the under here, honestly. I just don't think that. I think it's going to be like a 3-0 game. You know, you get all the defensemen back for. We got not all of them, but Gerard back for Colorado. I think they just shut them right down. You know, they play keep away as best as possible. They handle the goals they need to get, and I kind of like stacking a couple of the cheaper Colorado guys here. You know, your Tuchkins, your Kompers, Burakovsky's, Donskoys, those guys, and just giving yourself the salary to stack around that top game that I like so much. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow on DraftKings. And player prop wise, if I'm being honest, I'm not going to be overly bullish on them just because there's so much variance that like trying to figure it out last second is just really difficult. Especially on FanDuel to sort of sort through everything and try to like figure out exactly what you want. That it's going to be really hard for me. But if I'm going to do anything here, I'm probably going to get like I said, creative and take like Tyson Yost to score and like Backlund to score and like just doing like 2-man kind of unique things like that.
Yeah, I mean, so I will sort of give the obligatory LA guys. You know, I do like the over, and if things do happen on the LA side, I do think they come through the stick of Adrian Kempe. He's on the top power play and playing with Kopitar. You know, we'll see if that changes, but as of right now, he is. I just had it plus 335 to score.
Yeah, I did see that.
You know, like Liam O'Brien, Jason Megna, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
You know, I could raise you one. You know what's been really good for them is Gabriel Velarde.
Yeah. I mean, I like awesome Velarde.
Velarde's problem was he just wasn't shooting, and then all of a sudden, maybe they told him it was okay. Like it's all right, and he started shooting again, and it was like, whoa, like that's cool to see. Like he's a really, really gifted player. So those two are definitely the ones. I mean, is there even? I mean, besides Kopitar, who I'm not going to take, obviously, and Dustin Brown, there's no one that's even above plus 300 to score for them. Like they're giving them literally no respect. And I think both of us kind of agree that there's at least some angle to say like they're probably not starting Grubauer. Like the goalie that's in net is not very good. Let's do something. I wouldn't even mind getting absolutely bonkers and saying, you know what, Gabriel Velarde first goal plus what 3,000 is it or 250, 2,500? Just like whatever. Like have fun. You know, it's like the last game of the year before the playoffs. If you got $10 that you want to maybe light on fire, just do that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I wish there was a prop.
Do a lot.
I wish there was a prop that was Gabe Velarde first goal and then Avalanche second, third, fourth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth goals because it does feel like Colorado's going to take care of business here. But yeah, there's 3 games. Some news and notes from them, but of course you got to stay tuned to the morning skates and the pregame skates in particular because we get a lot of this news either in the pregame availability. Hopefully they tell the media what's going on. If you do want to sort of stay up with this, we do have a Discord with the Morning Skate podcast that DJ and I do from time to time. So be sure to give us a follow there as well at Morning Skate Pod and join the Discord that way by DMing us. But before we get out of here, let's just quickly recap a couple of our favorite bets on the night. And then just like the one thing we're doing on DraftKings, and GPPs to just sort of, try and build a winner.
Mm-hmm. All right. So favorite bets of the night. I think the unders almost across the board is what I'm going to do. I except for the Vancouver-Calgary game. I mean, depending on what that lands on, I think it'd be under in Minnesota, St. Louis, under in LA, Colorado, and then I probably just won't touch the Vancouver-Calgary one, but I would take the over if I was going to take anything there. I like that, to take those 2 unders.
Okay. I'm sort of digging the Adrian Kempe props. If you can find shot on goal, of course, I like that. He's been their trigger guy in the power play. So that's sort of, just where I tend to go to with my shot props. But his goal prop at plus 335 is, I think, a really good value too. We know that Colorado with Grubauer is pretty much impenetrable, but without Grubauer, they've not gotten good goaltending all year. So I think that that's actually something that I'm baking into this slate where, again, nothing really matters anyway. So like, why not, go with the guys who are getting, a lot of run on these downtrodden teams like Adrian Kempe, because you got something to play for. I like them a lot, ride your dudes. So the other one I will go with is, did you take Giordano or Backlund or both of them? I don't even know. Like,
take him in DFS.
Oh no, like just shot prop. Did you have a lean one way or the other? Because I've been tossing them up all show.
Whatever one has better odds, I just take.
All right, that's Yeah, and I think on one thing I'll be doing is something I think people should be doing on short slates anyway is not necessarily going with two different line stacks from different teams and just think like I got to do this. But getting pieces of the same team across multiple lines, for example, 4-man, 5-man stacks of the teams you like the most, like Calgary, or even getting off the board a bit, sure, go for it. Because I just think that those tend to go way under-owned, and things happen so much, line changes, power plays, where you get a lot of sort of cross-line point totals, and it's just way under-owned for the upside it has. Because again, if your team scores 5 goals, you don't need your guys in on every single goal to still have the best stack. So that's something I'll be doing. For me, that's Calgary by far and away. But I just think in general, getting these creative 5-man stacks is a really good way to go about things.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, I'm probably going to have 6 guys from the Vancouver Calgary game. And I'm not exactly sure yet. I think it's going to be a little bit more like 4-man Calgary, 2-man Vancouver, and then like a piece from the Colorado side. Like I do think they'll have some upside, but I like the under there. I think like a 2-0 or 3-1 game there. So yeah, that's and again, like the hardest part about tomorrow is going to be goaltending. And I think that just I guess a mental note or the best way to do it. And don't be like me on Wednesday night. It's just look at the Vegas odds right around lock, right around 8 and just say, you know what, which goalie, and don't obviously break your back on it. Like you don't need to play Johansson if he's in net at 8,500, but just go, you know what? Calgary is a heavy favorite here and Markstrom's in net. Just lock it in. Don't try to do something crazy. That's my best advice. Like don't play the LA goalie.
Yeah, that's on you, bud. But I think the LA goalie is perfectly in play here. Anyway, let's get out of here. I mean, we've done enough. Feel free to reach out to DJ on Twitter. Just check in. You can see over his shoulder. It's been a tough week. We're getting ready to say goodbye to Jack and Sam. A nice heartfelt tribute from DJ there. And also he played Cal Peterson on Wednesday night. So, just give him an extra, maybe send him some flowers or whatever. So yeah, DJ, anything else before we get out of here?
I'll just rip to the Sabres. It was real fun. That was a good decade of losing. I can't wait for the next one. I'm just excited looking forward to 10 more years of failure. Can't wait.
All right. Make sure you're heading over to Prize Picks. Use promo code MMN when you sign up. And as always, big thanks to them for sponsoring this very show. Best of luck on Thursday, everybody. And we will see you.